2022 to me was a great year for manga. I ended up reading so many interesting innovative works that had diverse art styles and a wide range of themes and stories. But since I won't be reading any more manga until the end of the year, I wanted to show you guys all of the great mangas that I read this year by making a top 10 manga of 2022 video. I want to talk about why I love these mangas, why you should also try them out, and hopefully help you guys discover new stories to possibly fall in love with. Please keep in mind that this isn't going to be a list of the manga that are currently being published, but rather it's a list taken from all of the mangas that I just happened to read this year. Starting off at number 10 is Fire Punch, a manga written by the author of Chainsaw Man and set in a depressing post-apocalyptic world. But unlike Chainsaw Man, which has a premise that is fairly common in anime and manga, Fire Punch has a very creative original setting. The story takes place a few decades set in the future, where the entire planet is engulfed by a long ice age. Food is scarce, society is in chaos, and humanity has depleted to a very small number. A few people in this world are born with supernatural abilities, and our main character is blessed with the ability to regenerate himself. But if he's supposed to be a regenerator, then why does he look like a fire user in all of his posters and volume covers? Well, there's an awesome origin story behind it, but it'll be a true disservice if I actually spoil it right now. It's fast paced, it doesn't pull any punches, it does weird stuff with the story that you don't normally think of, which can be hit or miss sometimes. But what I love the most about Fire Punch, which initially surprised me about it, was how lonely and depressing it was. The wholesome comedic and happy moments are completely absent in it, but it works really well to the story's advantage. You're following this bleak, painful ride, kind of like Blame, but along the way you tackle themes regarding the state of humanity and how messed up we are as people. If you like ambitious, creative action stories, or if you're a fan of Chainsaw Man, I highly suggest checking it out. Overall, I'd give it an 8 out of 10. At number 9 is gonna be yet another post-apocalyptic manga, but one that has a completely opposite tone to Fire Punch. At number 9 is this manga called Girl's Last Tour. Unlike Fire Punch, which was dark and depressing, Girl's Last Tour has a very positive tone and outlook. The world has truly ended. In this manga, we follow two girls who happen to be the last of humanity. It's an adventure story about these two girls exploring a broken world all by themselves on a motorcycle. The contrast between the world that's left in ruins and the positive, charming outlook of the girls is what makes the series really stand out, in my opinion. The world building is also really amazing, with the girls witnessing what remains of our society and technology. And the manga is worth reading just for looking at the art. The art accurately represents what the main theme of the story really is. That it's okay if the world around you is broken, as long as you stay happy and positive. It's fairly short and it never overstays its welcome. It's a really great healing manga that overflows with optimism and wholesomeness. I highly recommend it if you want something positive. Okay, now at number 8 is the highly influential Devilman. Devilman is a manga from the 1970s that has inspired countless works that came after it, and it's a series that is still popular even today. Out of all of the 10 mangas that I was gonna talk about today, Devilman was the hardest for me to explain why I loved it. The art style is rough, but in a great way, and the story, despite being very dark in nature, is presented in a fun and a charming way. The charm of Devilman is hard for me to describe, and it's completely lost in its translation to anime form. So I do think that even if you're not a huge fan of Devilman Crybaby, there is still a big chance you'll end up liking this manga. But if you're someone who's completely new to the series, Devilman is all about contrasts and parallels. The premise of it is simple. Devils lurk around in the world, and our main character ends up being a hybrid of a human and a devil. He decides to fight these devils for the sake of humanity. A pretty straightforward beginning that you see all the time, right? But the entire execution of the story is decades ahead of its time. Using the premise of devils lurking around, killing people and creating chaos in our society, Devilman shows the yin and yang of various aspects of our life and of humanity as a whole. It's a very concise manga, and I do think it's worth giving a shot to see all of its various influences in your favorite anime and manga, even if you end up disliking it. 8 out of 10. At number 7 is The Climber, a manga that has no right to be this low on a list under any circumstances. But because of the year that I had reading manga, I couldn't find a higher position for it. Every single manga in this top 7 is genuinely amazing and a must read in my opinion. The Climber in particular is a visual masterpiece. It's a manga about mountain climbing, and the quality and the art of the manga is so high that when we read it, we feel like we're in the middle of a huge blizzard. We follow an antisocial main character as he goes through different stages of his life, dealing with depression and loneliness. The only passion that he has in his life is his dream of conquering the most difficult mountain in the world. The journey of the main character is excellently portrayed and the story is efficiently told to us through the art. And if you are looking for a manga to read that focuses on the art presenting its own visual story, it'll be hard to find one better than The Climber. It's a truly timeless work of art. 8.5 out of 10. Coincidentally, at number 6 is JoJo Part 6. I've been wanting to talk about Stone Ocean on this channel for a while now, ever since I finished it earlier this year. Araki Sensei, the mangaka of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, is someone who's always trying to push the boundaries of what JoJo is and what it could be. And Part 6 is no exception to that. From creating a charming new premise of a main character being trapped in a prison full of stand users, to having our first very own female cast in JoJo, to presenting one of the boldest endings that I've ever seen, JoJo is greatness. JoJo Part 6 is greatness. If you haven't watched or read JoJo at all you've got to know about it as a brand new viewer or reader is that JoJo is a long epic narrative having 8 different parts, with each part having its own unique setting, genre and cast of characters. I'd suggest you guys to give a few episodes and volumes a try first before seeing if JoJo is for you, because JoJo is an acquired trait. I was personally someone who dropped JoJo twice before actually becoming a fan later on. Now it has become one of my all-time favorites. The swagger that JoJo has, the unique and amazing art style, the originality, the creative fight scenes, the wonderful villains, and of course the memes. JoJo is a bizarre manga that cannot be replicated. And at number 5 is also another JoJo part. JoJo Part 8 called JoJo Lion. I won't be talking about JoJo Lion here much because JoJo Lion is a pure mystery manga. The lesser you know about it, the better it will be. Part 8 is structurally the most ambitious JoJo part ever, and its execution really shows how much Araki has grown as a mangaka. It's intelligent, it's heartfelt, and the cast of characters and the dynamic that they have is really beautiful. It's almost a perfect manga until the final arc, which I thought was a little bit underwhelming, at least compared to JoJo standards. But overall, it's an incredible one-of-a-kind manga, and easily a 9 out of 10. My pick for number 4 is the manga that I hope everybody watching this video ends up reading, regardless of what your taste in manga is. The manga is called Blank Canvas. Blank Canvas is a very candid autobiography of a mangaka, where she talks about the main reason behind her success as a creator despite her struggles with procrastination. The story in the manga is handled in a genuinely sincere way. She never tries to whitewash anything, she's open to her shortcomings, and it's never done in a pretentious way. Heck, it doesn't even feel like an autobiography for the most part because the mangaka is in fact a great storyteller. It's a great story even if you take away all of the autobiographical aspects of it. You could feel that the author is pouring her heart and soul into this work. It's a manga with a universal message that almost everyone can relate to. If you are someone who's struggling with your work or with your studies or with anything that you're passionate about, it's hard to not take away something positive from this manga. Blank Canvas is also a very short manga. It's only about 6 volumes, so you won't be wasting too much of your time even if you dislike it. If you can only take away one single thing from this video, I want it to be you, yes you, reading the entirety of Blank Canvas. I'm sure it'll help you in some meaningful way, just like it did for me. At number 3 is Glass Mask, my biggest manga surprise of 2022. Glass Mask has over 500 chapters and you will have to spend a lot of time on it, so it's not for everyone. But if you do invest yourselves in reading it, make no mistake, you will be bombarded with greatness. Glass Mask is a shockingly amazing manga. It's an ambitious career manga on acting. Every time I read a new volume or a new arc, it impresses me more and more with the author's vision. The story is about a teenage girl from a poor household trying to pursue a career as an actress. It's an amazing reading experience where we see the sacrifices that this girl has to do in order to be a great actress. It's a very heartfelt, inspiring manga that never fails to move me. I genuinely don't think you can find a better acting manga. It's got simplistic character designs, but the paneling, the character acting and the flow of the manga are just masterful. It's a complete package of manga that I can recommend to anyone if they are looking for something long and truly one of a kind. My second favorite manga of the year is yet another JoJo part. JoJo Part 7. In my opinion, JoJo Part 7 is the best JoJo part and Araki's magnum opus so far. I'll try to be just as careful talking about Part 7 as I was with Part 8, because just like Part 8, Part 7 is best experienced when it's completely blind. If Part 8 was the most ambitious JoJo part from a more structural point of view, then Part 7 is the true encapsulation of Araki's creativity, style, art and bizarreness. The premise is just one of the coolest concepts that I've seen from a manga. A horse race spanning across America with stand users having a battle royale on top of horses is just the best, most coolest concept that I've ever heard of. And Araki, of course, uses this premise to his absolute advantage and to the best of his abilities. The main two characters are fucking amazing. The villains are easily the best JoJo villains out of them all, and the story is smart and truly unpredictable. The art is also easily one of the best that I've seen from a manga, right up there with stuff like Berserk and Vagabond. JoJo Part 7 is perfect. If you're an anime only viewer of JoJo, brace yourselves for the next part because it's going to be something really extraordinary. Before we finally talk about my top 1, I wanted to just add a few honorable mentions to the list. Akira, Nausicaa, Paradise Kiss, Satoko and Nada, Dead Demons, Dead Destruction were all great mangas that I genuinely enjoyed, which I sadly couldn't add to my top 10. But these are all great mangas that I hope you guys check out if they seem like something you're looking for. My favorite manga of the year was of course Golden Kamui. I love Golden Kamui to bits. It has everything that I want from a manga. An amazing cast of characters, incredible action, hilarious comedy, great villains, breathtaking artwork and one of the greatest final arcs of all time. I just love when historical stories make full use of the time period and the setting that they're in to show all the facets of life and society, or to show set pieces that can only be possible during this time period. Golden Kamui is a perfect example of one such manga. Golden Kamui is a historical manga set in northern Japan at the turn of the 20th century. It's a treasure hunting story following various criminals, war veterans and degenerates on their quest to find large amounts of gold in a mysterious location. We follow a war hero character who teams up with a very capable young girl from a tribe in northern Japan called the Ainos. Golden Kamui might be my favorite battle royale story of all time. There are multiple great villains, and it's really exciting to see how their dynamics evolve as the story progresses. There's just so much research, care, and attention to detail gone into the world building of the series. Golden Kamui is historical fiction at its best, with one of the best cast of characters that you will ever find. It's an unpredictable story that can switch between two completely different genres and tones in a single heartbeat. Golden Kamui is a true modern masterpiece. That's all for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it and found my top 10 interesting. What do you guys think of this list? Have you read any of them? If so, what are your opinions on it? If you haven't read any of them, did this video convince you to give at least some of these mangas a try? What was the best manga that you happened to read this year? I genuinely want to know about it in the comment section down below. I'm gonna make more videos summarizing my media experiences of the year in the coming weeks. So look forward to that when it comes. I hope you guys have a great day. Thank you for watching.